Oh good, you're here. This video has been in progress for months, but I think we're finally ready to unveil. You may have noticed that I have a background that has been slowly evolving through each video. And now we're going to address what's going on. We're building a tree up here in the loft. I want to create a space that is comfy and cozy where I can come and work and relax. I also would like a specific place for the things that I make. It's good to remind yourself of your accomplishments. There is a lot of work ahead. So let's get started. This is what we're working with. Isn't it a cool space? Jelly and I decided to live on the first floor of the apartment and have a filming and office in the loft space. Sorry the video quality is not great. Jelly had to go apartment hunting without me, and he sent back videos of options. I was excited to have it though, because I forgot to take before pictures. There's this cool little space back here with shelves. Jelly claimed this space for his office. So I'm gonna work with this corner, I think. This was a strategic decision. There are random holes in the walls up here, and by creating this corner, I can cover several of them up. I wouldn't want to lose a cat in a wall. It would honestly devastate me. I decided to try and make the majority of my new filming background from the cardboard boxes we used to move here. I was a little concerned about the structure though, because of all the folds in the boxes, so I got some foam core boards to build off of.
No! Sorry, what's working? Yes, sir. I think you better tell me your news. We took turns filming something.
I was playing around with different angles, and I was very pleased with myself. But you don't really need to see this from 2 angles. Moving on. I put the foam core heartwood in the corner and then started applying larger broken down boxes to bulk out my trunk. I was really trying to keep the price tag low for this. Moving is expensive. I'm not sure I succeeded, but I'm happy with how the loft looks. Addie and Lion were essential in their supervision of this process. I'm not looking to set us all on fire. Jelly and I really wanted to have the downstairs be a normal living space and the upstairs be an unexpected Wonderland type filming space. I would say the style of this tree is ElfQuest meets Vincent Price's horror filmography. I'm just filling out the branches now. Pardon my cherry complexion. At this point in the process, it was August in Los Angeles, and there are no windows up in this space. It was mighty warm, but I had a fan and a lot of water, so it was actually fine. Oh, this breaks my heart. I had this branch coming straight out from the wall, attached to the ceiling, and it makes it right up until the end, and then I couldn't get it to stay up. It was too heavy, and also it would block the light, so it had to go, unfortunately. To blend all the pieces together and give the branches a bark-like texture, I'm adding strips of cardboard that I painstakingly labored over, but there's no reason to watch that. I tried to use Dollar Tree glue, still trying to keep things cheap, but it does not grip quickly, if at all, honestly. I would assume that it does grip eventually as it dries, but I've never been able to get it to grip because I'm impatient and didn't want to hold the pieces together long enough apparently. To be fair to me, I was holding things for a minute or two, and I had so much to glue, I needed a glue that would grip pretty quickly. So I ended up getting a large pot of Mod Podge, and I regret nothing, except maybe spending the $2.50 on the Dollar Tree glue. I'm obviously still working through my glue issues. Glue, 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 glue. It's looking a bit like trash now, but I'm actually really excited to see this point because it's starting to become something. Let's keep going. Now we'll paint everything black. Why a tree, I hear you asking me. It's a little complicated. Have you ever heard of or read ElfQuest? My dad used to read ElfQuest to us when we were little. The artwork is really beautiful, and the stories were exciting. You really cared about the characters. The tribe of elves that you follow from the beginning of the story is a woodland tribe. They live in trees using magic to shape the living tree to create tree hollows large enough for them to live in. This is one of the things that inspired me to create a tree in my home, and as my background. I never realized they had orgies. I mean, I knew they all had sex with each other, but I never connected the term orgy to the story that was being told. What does that say about me?
It's all very tasteful, and you don't see anything. Maybe that's why I never made the connection.
Let's move on. I'm adding layers of cardboard behind the branches to give the tree depth. If I were to ever do this again, I would use a bigger brush. This design was also inspired by a painting that I am working on that has a stained glass tree in it. I'm excited to finish it. I had to leave it back in the flatlands, but I am working on a digital copy out here. I'll post the in-progress images on my Instagram if you would like to see how that project is going. I'm having fun finding the differences in weather here. The heat in the flatlands is so punishing. Even in the shade, the heat makes it hard to breathe sometimes. I've not been here a year yet, and I'm making no definitive statements, but I have noticed some things that are different. The sun always seems warm, but the shade is relieving, like it should be. But I've been told that people don't really go out during the day in the summer, like to walk around. Obviously, people drive places. But I was exploring the neighborhood when we moved here in May, and the streets were pretty empty of people. I trekked up to the main road, about a mile from our place, and I met maybe 2 people on the main street. It was crazy. A mile here is also very different than a mile in the flatlands. That is probably an obvious statement, but didn't really mean much until I experienced it. I walked a mile to Target to grab a few things, and I had no interest in the walk back. But I made it! I used to walk everywhere in Chicago. I didn't get my first car until I was in my late 20s because I didn't need one until then. It's more difficult to get around here, but I'm figuring it out. I'm not sure if this was the right choice for color of the heartwood, but I was trying to remind myself that the background is not meant to be the focal point of the video. And the lighting that I ended up using is really warm, so I think that's okay. I'm dry brushing the heartwood gray over the rest of the tree to highlight the raised parts of the bark. Again, I wonder if I should have gone with a warmer color, but wait till you see what happens next. To add a stained glass and magical iridescent element to the tree, I cut strips of iridescent vinyl to go between the strips of cardboard. I don't think I filmed myself putting the lights up because I wasn't sure they were going to stay up, and I did end up taking them down to see what the fabric looked like behind the branches. But ultimately I put them back up. So, to make a long story short, I have some large warm lights hanging from the ceiling surrounded by mesh as part of the tree's foliage. And you can see the branch coming straight out of the wall has ripped off at least once. I'm trying to keep the actual walls undamaged, even though there's tons of holes in them. I digress. I'm trying to keep them undamaged, so I'm using tape, push pins, and the structure of the cardboard and glue to keep this thing standing. Not having windows upstairs is harder than I thought it would be. I've worked in movie theaters off and on for half my life, and I'm used to not having windows or operating in the sunlight as much as other people. I also realize that I've been living in basement apartments more often than not because you can get a nicer apartment cheaper if you sacrifice the sunlight and the view. So that also kept me in darkness a lot of my day. But since I have made the decision to try and make YouTube and art my occupation, being out in the sun has become more important to me. I don't think I realized I was missing it. That's why I usually work downstairs in bed so I can enjoy the sun while it's out. It's interesting to only be able to realize some of these things after I've removed myself from the situation. Have you ever felt that way? Maybe the act of removing myself from the situation triggered my need to be out in the sun more. Maybe I would still love the darkness if I still ran a movie theater and lived in a garden apartment. But I'm in the land of sunshine now, so I'm happy to embrace the sun. Psychology.
Am I right?
Don't get me wrong. There's still something mysterious and special about the nighttime. I love going for walks around the neighborhood at night. Don't worry, our neighborhood is very safe. And even still, I have a safety jelly with me, and we protect each other. I still love the nighttime, and I love how black makes other colors pop. And I wanted to build a tree that is other and magical, and I think I have. I think the tree ended up looking more like volcanic rock almost. I'm not mad about it. On to the other side. We're almost there.
I was still using Mod Podge to glue everything down. I ended up using a little more than half of the 32-ounce bottle of the matte variety.
Wow. Ooh, I got this fluffy rug. It's really comfy, but I didn't measure the space, so it's way too big. It's just memory foam with shag on top, so I just folded it in half, and it's fine. I got a Garland from Dollar Tree, and I took the leaves off of it and gave them a wash of black paint. You can still see the beautiful fall colors they used to be, but they have been significantly muted. I feel like the muted colors blend really well with the colors in the iridescent strips. I also painted the edges of some of the leaves gold to add a pop to each leaf grouping.
I switched to hot glue for the leaves because they weigh next to nothing, and if hot glue cannot handle this application, I'm afraid I may do something unladylike.
I used the muted leaves closer to the tree, then got some pure black leaves to fill out the rest of the space. Then I added some more cardboard that I painted black to be behind the leaves. Depth, depth again, depth. This is actually where I started. I was testing the cardboard strips, color palette, and iridescent paper to make sure I like the way it looks. There's no storage in this apartment, so this is one of the things that I have made to create more storage. I've also been utilizing the little boxes we get from Amazon. I was thinking about trying to decorate those boxes so they match the aesthetic. What do you guys think?
I got this container from Dollar Tree. The nice thing about this technique is I'm using the container as a template, so I can make as many as I want and still have the container afterwards. I won't use it for food, obviously, but I have plenty of things that need organizing. This is the Dollar Tree glue that I mentioned earlier. Have you guys used this stuff? Does it work for you? Please let me know down in the comments. You know the drill. Just making the bottom so all my treasures won't fall out.
I cut the vinyl a lot thinner for this first one. I decided to make the strips thicker because I didn't want it to be too much. I'm not sure I succeeded. But you know what? I love rainbows against black. I just love color so much. And seeing these colors pop against the black makes me smile.
These were meant to look like stumps from the tree. I made 2 of them, and I love how they came out.
I saw this technique on Bargain Bethany or the Daily DIYer for Halloween. I'll link their channels down below. You take a pool noodle from Dollar Tree, cut it down, then decorate it to look like candlesticks. So I'm gonna add some ambiance to my background. That was me sawing through my miter box. I'm not sure why, but I cut into this box as much as the object I'm actually trying to cut. Whatever. I separated the noodle into 7 parts so I could have a group of 3 candles and a group of 4 candles to be on either side of the tree. I cut the tops of the noodle segments to accommodate these LED candles. Try not to cut too many fingers off. Perfect. I'm using the ultimate glue to attach the groups of candles together. For this glue, you let it sit for 2 minutes, which seems counterproductive, but apparently some glues aren't tacky immediately. I guess it becomes tacky when reacting to the air or something. I'm just following directions, but I think that's true with spirit gum. That's the glue you use to apply prosthetics to the skin in plays and movies. I did let it set up, but edited the 2 minutes out because who wants to watch glue dry? Beautiful. Now I need some shelves for my candles and projects.
These are vinyl and aluminum cubbies
that you assemble yourself. I got them on Amazon, 6 cubbies for $15, and I bought 2 of them. They're really nice for the price, I think. But you may be able to find something cheaper at Five Below. I think I saw something there that was similar. I like the cubbies because they're reminiscent of smaller tree hollows where animals can hide their treasures. I wish I could blend things together a bit better, but I'm working with what I got right now. Addie worked very closely with me on this one. It was important to her that I constructed everything correctly. Addie is my little builder and fix-it buddy. She likes to come around when my hands are full to test the project for structural weaknesses. It is very helpful and not frustrating at all. I love it. She's my little angel. Lion is my little homebody. He helps me with the laundry and the dishes. He also helps me make coffee in the morning. Addie really steals the show.
But even she is getting bored with this. Let's finish it. I built all 6 cubbies on each side, but ended up separating them in half because they were covering too much of the tree we just worked so hard to make.
By this time, it was October, so I was able to find some fun Halloween decorations to incorporate, including this lovely cheesecloth fabric stuff? Netting? It was very dusty upstairs. I ended up taking a trip back to the Flatlands for the month of September, and Jelly was so busy, the place had been closed up the entire time I was gone. Now let me show you what I've done. Welcome to our magical space. Well, what do you guys think? You may be wondering why this has taken me so long. This video kind of represents the impact that COVID had on my life.
In March of 2020, I was running a successful independent movie theater in Chicago. Jelly and I and the kiddies lived in a lovely 2-bedroom apartment in the same neighborhood as the theater. We were figures in the community. I was halfway through my master's in animation, and then COVID hit and everything changed so quickly. Jelly and I lost our jobs and we had to find a new place to live in a very short amount of time. We decided to move back to my hometown where we could rent a 3-bedroom house for less than we were paying for a 2-bedroom apartment in Chicago. And that was amazing because Jelly got an office, and for the first time in my life, I got a room that was dedicated to being a studio. And it was amazing, but the psychological impact of everything that had happened caused my schoolwork to suffer. So I decided to take a break from it. Then Jelly got an opportunity from one of our friends who had moved out here to the land of sunshine. And it seemed like an obvious path forward, to take a chance on ourselves to create the visual content that we'd always dreamed of making. But our lease in the Flatlands still had 8 months on it, so Jelly took the car and came out here by himself. That way he could get the lay of the land and find an apartment so we weren't juggling all our stuff and cats while apartment hunting. So we were apart for 8 months. We talked every day, but it was definitely harder than I thought it would be. It's so confusing because so many good things have happened. But the good things came about because some really bad things happened. I am so grateful not to be back at that theater. I am so grateful not to be where I was in 2020. It may feel like I had more of my life together back then, but I was really stuck. The theater was so demanding, and I didn't really have a life outside of it. I was going back to school to try and work for a new future, but to be honest, I wasn't doing as well as I could have been at either the job or the schoolwork. The past few years have been really hard on all of us, but it's helped me to see things a little differently and taught me how to treat myself differently. I try to be more patient with myself because there's a lot going on. I remind myself to be patient with others because we're all going through some really hard years. I don't always succeed, but I strive for patience. I think the world would be a lot better if we could remember to be patient with each other. Let me know how you're navigating the changes to the world down in the comments. Did you have any big changes like Jelly and I?
Whew, that was a lot. Enough for today, I think. Take care, my friends, and I'll see you next time.